Hello. We've been talking and looking at videos on the laws of motion. The first law of motion, second law we'll be working on, and the third law. But one thing that we need to cover is forces that are unbalanced and balanced, because it all has to do with motion of an object. So here we have an unbalanced force, which is if you push on something, whatever it is, it's going to make that object move if you have the enough force. So an unbalanced force is forces that are not equal. So if you kick a soccer ball, if you throw a ball, it's unbalanced. Your force is greater than any force that's acting upon that object. Then we have balanced forces. Balanced forces are anything at rest. There's gravity pushing down on the object. There's a force pushing up on the object, so it stays perfectly still. If someone comes by and pushes this book, it's going to be unbalanced because there's more force pushing on it than coming in the opposite direction. So balanced forces are forces that are equal in size and opposite in direction. Okay. Another way to show you is this. The forces on this book are balanced. The table pushes upward on the book. The gravity pulls down. So if the forces in an object are equal and opposite, they're said to be balanced. The object experiences no change in motion. If they are not equal and opposite, then the forces are unbalanced and the motion of the object changes and it moves. So anything around you that you look at, it's being pulled down by gravity, and there's also a force pushing up. So it stays right where it is. If you go and you push it with a force, you're going to have an unbalanced force, and that object will move. Okay? So there's a way to measure force, and we use something called newtons. So newtons are something that you measure force with, and here is an explanation. Newton is an absolute unit of force of the International System of Units. That's just a fancy way of saying measuring units. And it's abbreviated with an N. Okay? So we don't need to know exactly what that is, but we do need to be able to calculate and look and understand what the force would be on objects and having a net force. I'll explain that. So on this sheet, we have a box. And if we were going to push on this box with a force of 4 newtons, this box would move, right? It's going to move. So the net force of this box would be 4 newtons or 4N. So on this worksheet, you would write 4N to the left, because the directions say the force that results from all combined forces acting on an object is called the net force. Calculate the net force acting on the box in the following problems. Be sure to include the direction of the net force, left or right. So here we have 4N, and you can see the arrow. We don't have anybody standing here pushing it, but this is just to understand it. So here's 4N to the left, so the net force would be 4N to the left. Here on number 2, we have forces going both ways. Picture someone over here and picture someone over here. Maybe the person over here has more muscles. Maybe they could push harder. So they're invisible and they're pushing this box this way, and someone else is pushing the box this way. But they can't push as hard. So where is the box going to move? Well, it's going to move to the left. But there is a force that's pushing this way. So we subtract. So 7N minus 2N is the net force would be 5N to the left. So you would write 5N to the left. There are other problems on the sheet as well. So you would have to figure out the net force on these problems. Okay? And here, there's also some word problems. Okay? And it talks about different things. So here we have a boy pulls a wagon with a net force of 6N to the east, and another boy pushes it with a force of 4N to the east. What is the net force? Well, they're both pushing in the same direction, east. So what is your assumption? What would you say is the answer for this? I'll just pause and wait. If you said 10N to the east, you would be correct for the answer on here. Okay, let's try one more random one. Here is number 4. We have 6 newtons pushing to the right and 3 newtons pushing to the right. So we have 2 forces pushing on this box in the same direction. What is your answer for this? I'll wait. You're right again. 9 N's or newtons, 9 newtons to the right, and so the box will move to the right. So that's what you need to do with this worksheet here. You are going to fill this out. On the bottom, you're going to write how many newtons and what direction the box is moving. Okay? That is your job to show. And also on this sheet, you're going to read the word problems and you are going to fill this out. And that is your job, your assignment. All right, have fun with newtons.